Welcome to Simply Happy Conversation, a podcast that teaches you how to create a clutter-free, functional and simply happy life. I'm Narelle King, a professional organiser who supports families with practical steps to simplify their lives and create a more organised home. I'm passionate about supporting neurodivergent families and individuals like myself. Want to make the most of your kitchen space without a major renovation? It's in need of a functional makeover, but without the expense. Today, I'm sharing 10 innovative storage ideas to help you maximize the space and enhance your cooking experience in your kitchen. Some of these clever storage ideas are going to be really easy for you to implement and require no tools. You could even start today. So let's jump into this Simply Happy conversation to maximize your kitchen space with 10 clever ideas. Thanks for joining me for today's episode where I'm going to be sharing 10 clever ideas to maximize your kitchen space without a major renovation. So I'm sure if you look around your kitchen space, there's areas that are being underutilized. Maybe it's a cupboard, a drawer, and it possibly could be in prime real estate. So your prime real estate is going to be between sort of your head height where your arms can reach out and easily reach and down to say your hips. Obviously, you're going to allow for the different variations of the family members. So some people in the family might have prime real estate that's a little higher and can access higher shelves compared to younger members of the family who maybe need their things down low. But if you keep this in mind, that means that maybe you're able to utilize more parts of your kitchen than you have been because you've not thought about other people in the family's prime real estate. And if you're living on your own, then you're thinking about your prime real estate and the other areas may not be used at all or for things that you do not need access to very often. The other thing to consider before starting is grouping the items by category or the frequency of use. So this will help you decide where you'd like to store them. For example, if you enjoy baking, I ask this as a question when I work with clients, then I'm going to then make sure it's then, if they do like baking and enjoy that, I'm going to make sure that the ingredients are at an accessible height, but also the things that they require. So maybe all the mixing bowls, all of the cupcake trays and things that they use for baking are together and easy to get to. Maybe it's also looking at whether they drink coffee and tea and setting up a station for those items together. They may not be then in the pantry, and this is then creating more space. Also looking at things that you use regularly when you're cooking. So maybe they need to be on the bench near the oven, and that's also creating a bit more space. Maybe it's herbs and spices, or it's the utensils. So number one clever idea to maximize your kitchen space is thinking about multifunction furniture and appliances. Thinking about furniture could be like an island bench. And this way, the island bench may have some storage on one side and also storage on the other side. That way, you're using the whole area as well as then you've got a bench space on top to utilize to prepare meals. Another great furniture addition that I've seen in families' homes are trolleys. May have all the breakfast items stored in it, and therefore it comes out in the morning and maybe even when the kids get home from school, because it's also got a section with snacks on it, and it just means it's easy to access. It's maybe at their height. Another multifunction piece of furniture may be a fold-out table or some sort of table that you could use for prepping food, but then it goes away. I've seen on the top of people's bench spaces a board that goes over the top of their oven so that they can utilize that space as well as a bench. Really small spaces. The other thing to look at are appliances. Are the appliances that you're using space saving, and do they have multi-functions? For example, if you have a microwave oven, can it double as a convection oven? Maybe you've got a Thermomix that doubles then. For myself, it doubled then as an ice cream maker, a stick blender, and that way I was able to get rid of all of the other extra appliances I had when I did upgrade and get a Thermomix. Maybe it's a slow cooker with a pressure cooker in it so that it also maybe doubles as a rice cooker. And that's one thing that my Thermomix has also doubled as well as our slow cooker. They're both perfect for cooking rice. So if I'm heating something and still cooking something, I've got two things to use for a rice cooker, and so I don't have an actual rice cooker anymore. So by having these multifunction appliances, it means you may be able to save space and let something go that you don't need now that the other device actually does multiple functions. Number 2 is to install pull-out shelves to maximize your kitchen space. So when you can incorporate pull-out shelves into your cabinets, it means you don't need to be going into deep cupboards and really struggling to get the things that are at the very back. A drawer or a pull-out shelf is going to be so much easier to access the things that are at the back as well as the things that are at the front. It also stops that dead corner also created when we have cupboards and that corner part you just can't access. Number 3 idea to maximize your kitchen space is using tiered shelving. Now, this is great if you have a really tall cupboard and the shelves are really far apart and you can't actually change the shelf height. So some of the shelves are actually built in and there's no way that you can actually pull them down. The other thing I've also encountered is because of the cupboard doors, you're not able to, even though there are the little holes for you to be able to move the shelf down, but because of the joins of the actual cupboard doors, you can't move the shelf down. So a tiered shelf is an alternative. And this is great for, say, spices and cans. And it means that you can see everything at a glance, but also you're maximizing that vertical space. It's not like just nothing there. The other thing you could use is one of those baskets that hooks onto the top shelf and comes down underneath the shelf below. So number 4 idea to maximize your kitchen space is to add drawer organizers. These are things that are going to separate the items in your drawer to make it really easy for you to see where the items are. Also, it gives it a designated place for it to go back to. So it's creating that home for you. I love using drawer organizers that maybe have been used in other parts of the home and now have not been used, and therefore they could be recycled. So it could be a box. The other things that are great are obviously plastic, or maybe it's even old lunch boxes that aren't being used anymore, stainless steel containers I've used with clients. Anything that you have that's maybe not being used could be utilized as a drawer organizer for, say, cutlery, utensils, garbage bags, or your cookie cutters. All those small things that just makes it easier for it to have a home and for people to put things back. Number 6 item to maximize the kitchen is lazy Susans or turntables. These are great in a corner cupboard or a corner of a pantry. It means that you can place the items on it, spin it around, and you can then access all the items on the actual turntable or lazy Susan. It just helps when there's a tricky space that you can't quite reach. It actually then can help you to utilize that space. I love the large 50 centimeter ones that you can get. These are really useful in a really big pantry and there's a corner that's really difficult to get to. I find these really useful with kids because it's easy for them to turn it around instead of trying to lean across with their hands and then they knock all the things that were in front. Number 5 is to incorporate magnetic strips. So these are great. If you can place them on a wall, it means you could put the knives up high, possibly away from kids. I also used to have one on the inside of my door of my pantry, and it was magnetic, and my spice jars would sit on those. You could also have any metal tools that you use in the kitchen that are going to stick to the magnetic strip, and it's going to keep your bench top nice and clear and also maybe even make it look nice and modern with that modern touch. Another way of using the magnetic strips is to stick things maybe on the side of your fridge. So I actually used the other day one that has a paper towel magnetic strip and it's right next to their sink. So that way they still had their paper towel right there next to them and it was utilizing that vertical space of a fridge. Also for us in Australia, we have these magnetic little containers that you can get from Kmart. These are really useful as well. That could be on a side of a fridge that you can put small items into. Number 7 is to use hooks. And I absolutely love using S hooks. So it's like the shape of an S and you can hang it onto a bar or like pole and then you can hang things off it. You can get these in all different sizes, and they're great for hanging pots, pans. I've also used these hooks for tea towels and for oven mitts and things that you want to have access to, but maybe you don't have a spot to actually put it on. The other thing that's great is using over-the-door hooks that you can place over a drawer or a door, again, so that you can maybe have a tea towel, or it might be some other thing that you use in the kitchen that you want access to really easily. Another idea is also installing a wall-mounted or ceiling racks that you could hang pots or pans if you're needing more space. Number 8 is to invest in stackable containers. These are really good for, say, your extra back stock that you may have, and you're able to then stack them on top of each other, maybe at the bottom of your pantry. The other thing that I use stackable containers are for, like, your herbs and spices, your teas and coffee, also for baking goods, because you're able to maybe stack them on top and be able to see it and actually access it really easily. The other thing with stackable containers is you can actually see how much you have left, say, for example, self-raising flour, and whether you need to get some more the next time you're at the supermarket. Number 9 idea to maximize your kitchen is to create a pegboard wall. Putting up a pegboard, and you could then place your utensils, maybe your kitchen tools and other items, and this is giving you a little bit more flexibility about how you've got your bench set up and giving you more space to actually prepare food, and everything's then vertical. And number 10 is utilizing that vertical wall space with actually shelves. So maybe it's installing some floating shelves that you could place mugs or utensils, or maybe it's decorative storage baskets on the shelves so you can see them. Maybe it's also a place for cookbooks to be stored. Let me just run through the 10 clever ideas to maximize your kitchen space. So number 1 was multifunction furniture and appliances. Number 2 was install pull-out shelves or drawers. Number 3 was to use those tiered shelving to utilize the vertical space in a cupboard. Number 4 was to add drawer organizers so everything has a designated place. Number 5 was to utilize lazy Susans or turntables. Number 6 was to incorporate magnetic strips. Number 7 was to utilize hooks. Number 8 was to use stackable containers. Number 9 was to create a pegboard wall. And number 10 was to add floating shelves to utilize the vertical wall space. These 10 clever storage ideas can help maximize your space and ensure your kitchen is functional, organized, and actually even visually appealing. I'd love if you could leave a review and let me know which idea you like and you're possibly going to implement in your home. Thanks for listening to Simply Happy Conversations. Thank you for joining me for today's Simply Happy Conversation. Are you struggling to find ingredients to put a meal together? It's time to bring ease and order to your kitchen space with our free step-by-step pantry organisation guide. Our comprehensive guide walks you through each step to help you create a pantry that's both functional and organised. Head to simplyhappy.com.au to the resource tab to get instant access today. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.